welcome everyone. Welcome if you jump right in. My name, as always, is Alex. I am here with the sales success team, and alongside myself, I have my co-partner in crime, Reef Wosen, and our senior director, Tim Rowan. Tim, how you doing today?
Uh, you know what, team, I honestly, I couldn't be better. Obviously we have some challenges from time to time with everything we do in a day. But you know what's happening this week? Do either of you guys know what happens this week?
Is it football?
It is football. Look at this. Like I literally, I've got my helmet sitting right here on the desk, and I'm ready to get after it. You know what I mean? Like it's time. Put me in, coach. Like.
All right, so next webinar, we're going to do a live stream of football games with Tim's commentary.
Another hopeful Super Bowl year
wait, yeah,
for
no.
the Commanders. For the Commanders.
Yeah, well, yes, and so that everyone's aware, yes, it is true. I am a Commanders fan, or should I say, Redskins football team Commanders fan. So I've been hanging around for a long time, and as a result, of course, I'm by rule not allowed to like or cheer for at any level the Dallas Cowboys. And wouldn't you know it, the very first game of the season is the Dallas Cowboys. So I have to tolerate that, I suppose.
So I'm going to be going to the casino here in Nevada, putting $50 on the Dallas Cowboys, and then I'm going to wave the money in your face once I go ahead and win it.
Well, I mean, maybe they win that game. I don't know. But listen, by the way, Alex, I think Scott is in, but he's in as a guest for some reason. Not as a guest, but he's
as a proper man. There we go.
Yeah,
he's being promoted to a panelist as we speak.
He had to sign in as a guest, which we'll have to work that out.
I'll change the settings on my side there. That's no worries.
And then Scott, being that you're on the webinar now, by the way, you do not get to do it not on camera. So there you go.
Perfect. There we go.
Thank you for letting me in. Appreciate it.
By the way, real quick, and we're going to dive into some fun stuff today. This is actually going to be great. We've got some big enhancements coming, and I mean big. And some of you will already see some of these changes. Others may not see them until more mid-month. And so we're testing some stuff, but also something pretty exciting. A lot of you may or may not know, but our team, the sales success team, is growing. And our first ad, if you will, even though not brand new to the company, is in fact Mr. Scott Karch. And Scott comes to us. He's been with Figure now, what, Scott, over a year?
Over a year and a half now. Yep.
Wow, a year and a half. Yep. Holy smokes. And I'm coming up on 2 years. Wow. And of course, Reef and Alex, well, since the dawn of time.
I've been here since we have been here, my friend. I'm so integrated. I'm a part of the floor at this point.
He's like furniture that you just never get rid of.
Yeah, exactly.
We just
keep fire me one day. Today's not the day.
We just keep moving them around. Yeah. Anyway, Scott comes to us on our team to really engage and really help us launch, support, tips and tricks, best practices, use cases of our process and product, in particular with all of our Figure wholesale partners. And by the way, that is a huge ask. So Scott has a big uphill battle. We have over 200 partners in that channel. Is that right, Scott? Is that what we're?
Yeah, 200 plus, maybe 250 plus.
Wow. So yeah. It's up there, but love having Scott as a part of the team. So Scott, welcome aboard officially. I know you've been with us now since the 1st of July. And we will actually have another gentleman joining on the call here probably in about 30 minutes. He's so brand new that he's actually on an HR call with us doing his onboarding now. And so once he jumps on the call, we'll be anxious to introduce you to the team as a whole. And so what is it that we do? Well, we've got Reef really largely engaged and focused on our retail / white label partners, if you will, seeing some great engagement there, one-on-one calls with LOs. Again, not what's the status of my file, but tips and tricks, best practices, how to better navigate some of those things. And Reef, actually, why don't you share with the group, how some of those calls go? What are some of the things that you're seeing in these real-time calls and whatnot?
Yeah, thank you. So LOs, not just that they want to be able to log into our system. Obviously, that's a important first step, but it's also about how to leverage our product. how to use it, how to think about the region that they're in. Are they East Coast? Are they West Coast? What kind of clientele do they usually have interested in? Maybe HELOCs or cash out refi, whatever the case is. So we kind of do kind of specific deep dives into like friction points that they run into. Maybe it's lower FICO customers and how we can help them. Maybe it's really well qualified folks that have plenty of money in their bank account and they're just inquiring about pulling equity because, you know, rich folks typically don't want to use their own money for things. So it's just different ways to strategize on how your branch or your business can actually use our product specifically, not just kind of a, you know, a big casted net where it's just general stuff. We actually get into the strategy portion, talk about, you know, maybe referral partners in that area that we can leverage and use for leads, for example. So great conversations. A lot of times leads to definitely increase volume and also higher conversion rates because you understand more of how to use this.
It really is true. And the understanding and Reef and Alex and Scott, our team as a whole, one of the things that we regularly talk about, at least in recent weeks, is the importance of setting the expectation. So I want to first start by saying, and a lot of you on this call have maybe heard us bring this up in the past. First, it's important that you as loan originators or sales leaders, you yourself have the right expectation. Furthermore, that you're prepared and coached to the topic with your sales teams to set the expectation with the homeowner. Now, Scott, what I just said there, that should be the rule across the industry, regardless of product. Would you agree?
100%. You're
Yeah.
spot on. Yeah.
And Scott, like myself, and like a lot of you on this call, he comes to us on our team as being in the mortgage industry for, well, gosh, Scott, do you want to say how many years? It's like
35 this year.
Right.
Oof.
So
Yeah.
between Scott and myself and the day in the life of an LO or a sales manager or points of contact with our partners, there's not much we haven't seen. And so that statement I made as to the importance of expectation, take that to heart, not just with our process and product, but your business as a whole. And more times than not, and Alex and Reef, I'll ask you to chime in, when we are engaged with the loan originator, and a lot of times initially it's because maybe they don't know a particular thing on a file, do you find that that concern, if you will, or that hiccup in the process could have been avoided had the right expectation been set on day one?
Absolutely.
I agree. And one big example, I think, of this really comes down to trust ownership type. This is something, you know, we talk about a lot, right? Really check that with your borrower. You know, if it's held in a trust, that's fine. As long as it's revocable, we're going to ask for that certificate of trust. Just know, I see a lot of hiccups there at the 11th hour where you're asking for that. And then what happens is the borrower puts in joint, which I notice, which is, you know, I can understand the mindset. But if they would have, you know, had the discussion ahead of time with their LO, put in trust, name of the trust, right? We would have had that all prepped. They would have had the certificate ready. It would have been a lot more streamlined of a process, and the borrower would have known that ahead of time. So it would have felt like an inbuilt part of the system instead of our team reaching out going, hey, what you did was wrong. We need to change this and then request a document from you. And they may not even know where that document is at that time. So you know, really, I could talk on 1,000 other examples, but setting the right expectation and understanding the process, that's what's important, I think.
Yeah, no question about it. And the fact remains is loan originators are going to run an inquiry, or maybe a borrower is going to start an application on their own, depending on the partnership level. And not every single homeowner is going to get an offer. That's true. What I want to encourage you all to remember is there is not a lender or a loan for every homeowner in the country. That's just a fact. So keep it in perspective, right? So is our process and product great? Absolutely. In fact, we continue to have record months. And why is that important? Well, it's important because the opportunity is real. I've said this time and time again, and I actually have started to feel almost like loan originators, us, and I'm picking on myself here as well. I don't know that our past clients or our referral partners think of us when they think of getting a line of credit. And I want to encourage all of us in the industry to make sure that our borrowers understand any mortgage, equity, debt consolidation, buying other property, any topic like that, I want to encourage you all to make sure your clients know you're the resource for that. And yes, you can help them with HELOCs. And yes, we've solved the pain of what it traditionally takes to do a HELOC. But Alex, you are going to demonstrate. We've got some things that he doesn't know this, right? He just looked at me like, I'm going to demonstrate what? But Alex is ready.
Oh, no.
Alex is ready on the fly. But here a couple of weeks ago, has it been a couple of weeks, we launched our resource center. And to be clear, a lot of our partners in the past, we had a link to a Google resource drive. And here's what we know. We provide that when a partner onboards, we provide that to the points of contact for the partner, admin, sales leadership, whatever that group might be. And what we've learned is that information, that resource drive link, if you will, wasn't necessarily distributed out to everyone in the sales teams, which in fact leads to a lot of questions like, hey, I have this scenario, can I do this? Or, hey, can you do this? Or, hey, listen, we get it. And you spoke, we listened, and Alex, it's now in the lead portal. Is that correct?
That is correct. So really, the big thing there to me was exactly what Tim was saying was I had spent so much time making such wonderful documents and demo videos and all sorts of stuff, as well as our marketing team made a marketing toolkit. But I noticing it wasn't getting out there that far, right? So me and Reef, we always tried to spread the link, but some people didn't have access to Google and that kind of thing. So we have this resource center link now here on this button. And if you go ahead and go into the system and click on that, go into lead portal, you're going to have access to a couple things. You're going to have access to a marketing toolkit that is made by our marketing team. That's going to have flyers, email templates, all sorts of stuff and more, as well as more specifically, you're going to have information on the HELOC. You can see there's also crypto back loan. If any of you get that enabled, hey, reach out. We'll go ahead and give that conversation. But what's so nice about this to me is the fact that you can go in here and you'll be able to review demo videos of how it works, both for the consumer as well as for the inquiry tool if you're curious. And then I have in here sections of documentation, and I'm only going to elaborate on these as time goes on. So we have a whole section for income verification. And the big one I like to point out is the product guide. That is going to give you matrices. That is going to give you a whole slew of information in here. And these are PDFs, at least the product guide is, let's say. And what you can do is you can download these if you want to, right? We can tell maybe this is smaller text, maybe use it on a different device, whatever it may be, right? You can download all of this. So it's going to be here. It's going to be available for you, so on and so forth. And again, when we have new features, when we have new products, that's all going to come out, right? So for example, hey, if you're curious, what states can I lend spousal, income in? Well, don't worry. There's a whole list here for you. And there's so many different questions we get, from LOs that are good questions, but they're in here not just to educate you, but it's also to me to expand your business. I had an LO reach out to me today and he said, hey, Alex, do you guys do secondary and investment properties? More specifically, he had a borrower with a secondary property. Well, number one, yeah, we do. Number two, yeah, you can go into the resource drive and look at it. But number three, to me, it's you can look in here and maybe you can see further possibilities. Maybe you didn't know we did listed properties and you look in here and go, oh, they can do listed properties. Oh, they can do investment properties. Oh, they can do this and that. That's a new avenue for you to proceed with different clientele, with different scenarios. And again, that inquiry tool is going to take out a lot of the guesswork, but this is a really good way to understand the process. Again, not just upfront for your prospecting, but then to help the borrower get started.
Yeah, no, it's fantastic. It was a heck of a project, and Alex and team and everybody that's worked on that. By the way, it's evolving. It's constantly evolving. Alex mentioned the marketing collateral there. That is also currently being updated. So it's live now. You can take a look and use different marketing collateral. Just know that it's also being updated. And so it's important, and this is the same way with any loan or process you're working on, knowing where to access your resources. And here's an idea, actually accessing them. So listen, not that we don't love the calls and the emails. We do. We love spending some time with you. However, always start there. If you have a scenario question, just go into your resource drive. And if by chance you don't have credentials in there, reach out to your points of contact at your company. And if you're not sure who that might be, absolutely reach out to us and we'll help you navigate getting credentials in the lead portal. And Alex, just to confirm what you showed, which was from a demo site there, the demo was from a wholesale perspective, but the same is true for our white label retail partners, correct?
That is correct. So, and you're going to see documents specific for your type of organization. So keep that in mind as well. You're only going to see necessarily like product information that I have in there, as well as you're going to see, again, if you're a certain type, if you're a white label partner, if you're wholesale, whatever it may be, the documents in there will reflect that. And most specifically for things like the lead portal job aid, as well as some minor little differences when it comes to the, say, the HELOC product.
Okay, so now let's talk big news. Some of it is live, some of it is coming soon. Some of it is as we roll this out. Remember, we always try and do things from a testing. We try and break something before we make it go live, and then we break it again and then fix it and so on and so forth. That's part of the process. However, we are getting ready to roll out some pretty big enhancements. So Reef, I'm going to ask you, when you're talking with loan originators, and we always start by advising what should a loan originator set the right expectation for his homeowner as their best path to verify income.
Yeah, so the best path, the fastest path that everyone should use as default is to link their accounts through Plaid. That is by far the easiest, quickest way to do it. And that is linking their personal bank accounts. We have an enhancement that I'm sure you're going to touch on here in a second, but that is the quickest one by far.
So
the first look.
That's our templated answer. We live by that. It really is true. And that has historically worked beautifully for us, especially with wage earner clients. But Scott, what happens when that borrower is self-employed and they go to link their bank statements? What happens?
Well, prior to the enhancement, you got a whole lot of nothing.
And what's the why behind that? The why is because we were built in such a way that even though we're using the Plaid system and as a vendor to link to bank accounts, what we weren't allowing is linking to business bank accounts. This has to be one of the biggest. Reef, Scott, Alex, you guys chime in here. Is that one of the biggest pieces that we've run into historically?
Oh, I'd say it's the biggest.
Yep.
So now you're going to start to see the opportunity to link to business bank accounts. We're slow rolling this. This should be live for everybody by the middle of the month. If you happen to be in our Figure wholesale channel, you may very well see it right now today.
Mm-hmm.
So Alex, I don't know, can we tease them a little bit with what that visually looks like?
Yeah, so it's going to be built already into our basic income verification process. So keep in mind here, I want to talk about some specifics when it's going to go into it. First and foremost, this is going to be through that same type of account linking through, say, like their personal checking accounts or savings accounts. Now, what'll happen is if they link multiple accounts, it's going to try to verify their personal checking accounts first. Reason is because we're going to need additional information, as you can see on the screen, for business accounts. So it's basically going to try to make it easy on the borrower. If we can verify enough income via their personal accounts, we're going to verify it that way, they'll move on. But in this example here, we can see they linked up some personal accounts. It's only verified $20,000 out of the stated total of the, say, roughly $220,000. So what has happened is they've also linked business accounts. Well, as Tim said, very shortly, for all our partners, this will be live. Right now, Figure Wholesale, it is live as of today. The borrower can link their business accounts. And this is where they're going to go in and they're going to have to add more information into the system itself. Now, the information we need, I'm going to scooch ahead here really quickly, is information on how they file their taxes, more or less. How do you file your business taxes? The reason for this is because we need to do basically calculations on the back end, annualization calculations for net business income. So we're going to need to know things like, are they a sole proprietor? Are there an ownership type? Is there an ownership? What's the percentage of the ownership, right? Some more information in there. So they can fill this in. This is, to be clear, not a tax verification. That's a different method. This is simply getting a bit more information so our system can do those annualization calculations. So just keep in mind, it's a small little additional step, but man, is it going to be so nice because it's going to be able to verify those business accounts. It's going to qualify so many more people. And this is going to be just a one big added additional step. And again, because it's all one method, the accounts can stack on each other to help them qualify. So just know that's all built in. And again, just to be clear, this is for Figure Wholesale. It's live today. It's live for new applications though. So if you had a borrower who started yesterday or the day before, they're not going to have this option, right? Just the way the text built out. So for new applications, new clients, Figure Wholesale, this is live. Everyone else, we're going to have this live very shortly. And this is, to me, probably the biggest thing we've ever done.
Yeah. So just to be really crystal clear on there, and the loan originators in this call, you'll totally get it. Understand that in the traditional lending world, when and if you're working in a non-QM space or have the ability to use business bank statements, we all know that typically we use 12 months, we add up the deposits, but then the lender will hit the borrower or the business, if you will, with an expense ratio. The screen that Alex showed you is what we're going to use to determine the expense ratio. I want to be clear about a couple things. In a different traditional fully underwritten perspective, they may hit you with a particular debt expense ratio, and you might say, well, that's ridiculous, but it's not near that high a percentage. And what would they do? They'd say, well, get us a letter from your CPA to tell us exactly what your actual expense ratio is. To be clear, this won't surprise you. That is not us. We are not going down a path of CPA letters and review of things. What the system says, based on what the borrower has input, is what we're going to go by. Why is this important? It's important to set the expectation of your borrower. The borrower drives that, not us, the loan originator. So you're going to go in still business as usual. You're going to put in what you believe and you've spoken to them and what they say their annual income is. You're then going to set the expectation of the borrower. And by the way, don't forget the power of questions. Oh, you're self-employed? Just out of curiosity, do you pay yourself a wage? Yes. Do you pay yourself into a personal bank account? Oh, no, your accounts are business? Great. Here's what you can expect. When you link to your personal bank accounts, go ahead and link your business as well, and be prepared to answer a few more questions about that. I hope that makes sense. Team, I can't drive that point home enough, because that is being driven on the borrower end, and setting the expectations for them is great. Now, what if they don't have business bank statements? What if they can't link to their bank statements? Don't forget, you can always have the borrower link to their tax transcripts for that self-employed borrower. Now, does that work every time? Of course not. All of us as loan originators know that self-employed, by its very nature, can make things a little harder in that regard. Again, set the expectation, ask the right questions, drive the borrower through the process as to what they're going to expect. And Alex, I believe you maybe have this done already, but are the resource materials for this latest enhancement already updated, or will those be a couple more weeks up?
No, they're already updated. Just give it like 10 minutes for it to be published, because I just sent a message to the team that does that, as I noticed they did not do it. So that'll be published here. That's all updated, and then going forward, all the resources will be updated when we make updates.
Okay. So we're also getting ready to roll out a product offering, if you will, that we've called Near Prime. And what that is it's going to be loans for the FICO range of 600 to 639. Now, again, I want to set the right expectation here. Do I think there's going to be some opportunity there? Absolutely. We're actually diving into what we believe could be some win back opportunities for some of you. And we'll get that information out to you, like, hey, we noticed you had, 50 inquiries last month and 10 of them had a 630 FICO score. Well, Might be worth an opportunity to rerun them again if you weren't able to come up with a different strategy at that time. So there is going to be some win back opportunity, but I myself want to also set the right expectation. Keep in mind that lower FICO borrowers could run into things like credit utilization decline reasons, meaning the balances on their credit card are too high. Maybe they have late payments. I mean, oftentimes there is a reason behind why that FICO score and that FICO band is where it's at. So again, have the right expectation. Just know that everyone that has a 600 FICO score doesn't automatically qualify for a HELOC. It's not like that. There's more to it. Now, am I excited that we're opening up that FICO band? Of course. And why would I say that? Let's just assume for a second you have a 610 FICO score borrower and maybe they don't get an offer. What you've just done is you've attracted a borrower in, you've taken 2 minutes or 1 minute or less in Reef's world, and you've run an inquiry, right, Reef? And you've run an inquiry. You've now confirmed what that soft credit score is. You also now have the AVM. And even if in our platform doesn't provide any offers, you now have enough additional data to switch gears, come up with another strategy for the borrower. You see? So I love it in the sense that it's going to allow us to attract new folks into the platform so that you can quickly get the answers as to what does or doesn't work. That's really the magic, everybody, going that route. Now, Alex, we have one more piece, which is going to be a later rollout. And I know we're kicking the tires on an actual variable rate platform. Is that accurate?
That is very true. And so we are still working on it, I should say. But yes, so we are going to have the fixed rate option, and we are also at some point going to offer the variable rate, hopefully here soon. So it's going to be a selectable option for, you'll see on the inquiry, as well as your borrower is going to have it on their offer screen. But it just depends on the situation, how the borrower kind of wants, that type of that type of loan structure. Because again, remember, with our fixed rate HELOC, there is a fixed rate floor that comes into play. Variable rate, well, the rate floor is what, 3% or something of that nature, just in case. So there's more room for flexibility in variable rate, which comes with the fact that it is variable. So you'll see that we will make announcements, but it is going to be kind of slick in there built in, just because you are going to have that toggle to see the differences when it comes to the offers for both fixed and variable. That way you can have a conversation with your borrower.
Yeah, and obviously we'll be anxious to talk about that when we are ready to go live with that. I will just share with you all that as a loan originator, and Scott, actually you can chime in here as well. If I'm having that conversation once we go live with that, all of a sudden we appear to be in an environment regarding the Fed rate, if you will, where the mode will be to lower that rate. So maybe, just maybe, it makes sense for that variable, still fully amortizing all that, understanding that over the next however many months, year, whatever the case is, how many rate drops will we see? You know what I mean? And so maybe, Scott, do you have any take on that from a loan originator perspective?
Yeah, well, not everybody's aligned to take a fixed rate. They may only need the money for short term. And in a market where rates are heading downwards, that's quite attractive and may induce further borrowing versus a fixed rate. So yeah, giving options and explaining and educating your borrowers to best suit their needs is definitely key.
Yeah, I'm anxious for that one to come out. I actually do think there's going to be a great use case. And then something that we spoke about on our last webinar with great response, by the way. In fact, Scott and I are heading this out ourselves. But just as a quick reminder, we have launched now the ability to refer. It is simply a marketing referral to our crypto-backed loans team, giving loan originators the ability to simply type in a name and an email address and hit send, and it sends it off to the crypto team, and that's it. And we return back to the partner a referral fee, and what y'all do with it from there is up to you. But no pipeline to manage, no, you don't have to get in the weeds in it. It is simply a referral process. So If you have information or want more information on that, we need to have, which Scott and I are navigating now, marketing referral comp agreements signed with our partners. So just email the sales success team and they'll get it over to Scott and I, just as a quick reminder.
I'll put that email in the chat here as well.
Anything else, Alex? I don't know where Reef went.
I don't know. He does his own thing. You know, that's going to be it for the most part. We are adding on a lot of great features to this. That's pretty much everything I had really to talk about today, but we have more in the works. So just keep in mind, we're going to keep doing these kind of announcements. I'm going to keep showing things on these webinars, but you're going to see just more and more added to the HELOC. You're going to see more and more when it comes to products coming out. Like, this has been such a huge year for us when it comes to this. The big thing to me, I think, really comes down to the 600 now range FICO. It's number one, you know, look back at your pipeline, just as Tim was saying, you know, see if there's availability there. But this could also be really good for helping borrowers with lower credit, you know, fix up their credit, you know, do some form of debt consolidation. Like, to me, there's honestly a big market there. And this is something that's been requested a lot over the years. So, really see how you can leverage it. To me, this, and then once we get the business, you know, account linkage out to everyone, those two big things are going to drive HELOC business with us through the roof, to me, compared to anything we've done in the last couple of years.
I believe very strongly that the linking to the business accounts is going to be the most significant. I really do. I think the 600 to 639 FICO range will help attract potential clients. I'm very anxious, and we will be watching closely the pull through. In other words, how many of those get offers? Again, I want to set the right expectation there. Those are in any other way to say it, I don't know, but those are for sure higher risk borrowers, right? So I think there's more to it than just a FICO score. And so we'll see how those come in, and we'll watch it real close and make adjustments wherever we need to. So Alex, and I know we didn't talk about this before, and if I'm being honest, even though I'm in Lead Portal all the time, I have not gone myself and checked, but was there a recent enhancement at all regarding our conditions tab or inbox that you're aware of?
Not that I'm aware of.
No, that's okay. That's okay. I just want to encourage everybody to keep an eye on it, because we actually believe that what's happening now, and this will be a huge relief. And Alex, let's confirm this. But I think what we'll find, oftentimes these things get pushed out, and it's just like, hey, it's out there now, and we haven't even quite had a moment to wrap our hands around it as a team. But take a look when you get some time, team, and take a look and see that conditions, because I think they are building, and it's either gone live or will shortly, where there's more commentary around the why on the condition, what will satisfy the condition, whether or not the borrower is notified of said condition, that type of thing.
Yeah, let's talk about conditions here a little bit, and I can show a couple of examples on this very much. So with conditions, to be clear, right? Let's start with from the very beginning. Every file is not going to have conditions. This is where we need documentation outside of that automated path, because we have a full customer operations team, real humans, who are going to look at this. And basically, it's a situation where we're going to need a confirmation document of some sort. So when the condition's placed on the file, the borrower is going to receive an email, and they can fulfill conditions on their end, as well as you will all receive conditions as a loan officer on file, and you'll be able to go into this conditions tab to help them out. Now, it's going to list to you what the condition is. So it'll say in this example, like say a bank statement is what's needed. That's going to be for their disbursement accounts. So whatever information we pulled from that disbursement account linkage, we simply need to verify more. Or what could happen is the borrower just puts in an account and routing number. They want to skip the automated process entirely. That's fine. We just need to verify the bank statement. But what it's going to tell you is it's going to tell you what we need. So upload the most recent bank statement, voided check, or bank letter confirming your account's ownership, right? Same thing's going to be displayed to the borrower. Now, with that, you can go in here and you can upload that document. So for example, let's say I just want to go ahead, I'll do it right here on the slide. Let's put the little figure logo in there. Well, what that's going to do is it's going to submit it over to review to our operations team. And I want to be clear about what I just said. It's being submitted to review. So when you go into the conditions tab and you see there are conditions, just know, unless that bubble said conditions needed, as it was just a second ago, conditions are not needed now. So what is happening is it's going to say, all right, we're in review. That means a real human needs to review it. It's going to let you know when it's been updated with an update date. And then after said period, once it has been done review, this will be green and say reviewed. Cool, awesome. We've gone ahead and improved that. And if we need anything else, we'll put a condition on the file. But to be clear, again, not every file is going to have conditions. And these are situations where, we just need additional documentation. Maybe we need a marriage certificate because the, spouse's name on title is different, right? It's their maiden name. Maybe it's a deed, who knows? You'll see it on there. Most common one, I think, is ID verification. So just have a conversation with the borrower ahead of time to make sure they take a clear photo of their ID with all four corners showing.
Yeah. By the way, Alex, I might point out that what you just demoed there, and I think is in the test environment, I actually think that has been enhanced.
Oh, there we go. All right.
I don't remember there being so much verbiage as to the why on the condition. And if you look at that, it didn't just say bank statements. And in the past, it might have said just bank statements, and loan officers and borrowers could quickly get confused thinking they were being asked for bank statements for income. But as that condition read out, it's not for income at all. It's to verify bank account ownership. And now it says that, if you noticed, you know what I mean? Reef, do you follow my logic there? I don't know that was happening a week ago.
I think you're right.
I guess I've done so many of these trainings, it all blurs together. But yes, I think there again, we are making so many improvements to this product. That's what I love about this company, right? We take feedback seriously. We take feedback from you all, and we make things better.
Well, that's a great segue. So Reef, this is your session. Let's take some feedback and let's dive into some Q&A. What do you think, my friend?
Yeah, I would love it. So Nick is asking, the wholesale product is for business purposes only, correct?
No.
So
business purpose loans are different. Business purpose loans, we do have a non-licensed channel if that is facilitating some of this in business purpose loan world, where there's not licensing required. We can connect you with that team if that's really the question. But no, the wholesale product is, owner occupied investment property, second home, debt consolidation, use the money to buy other property, whatever. Not specifically business purpose.
Nathan's also asking if Nexa Mortgage has the 600 scores live today.
I don't believe so.
Yeah, I'm not sure. I don't think they're live quite yet. But reach out internally. Bill would be a great place to,
for sure,
to ask that question, right?
Yeah.
Bill Farrell. Anonymous attendee is asking, when is the go live date for white label? Not too sure on that question.
Two pieces there. I'm fairly confident in this. So it's always a 2-week lag, and so we're looking for potentially a 9/15 launch date to our white label, and that'll be for the business bank statements, and it will be up to each of our individual white label partners to decide on the near prime or the lower FICO band product. Not everyone's going to want to do it. There's some differences in that business model.
Definitely. Is there more info for business to click through, or was it just through Plaid essentially?
It's just through Plaid.
Yeah, and it's really just a selection when it comes down to entity type and some information. So keep in mind, it's simple. It should take them 30 seconds or less.
It's actually a great question because I love it. It's something that we haven't touched on or reminded people of. Is it possible that you will have a client that will go to link their accounts with Plaid and their institution is not listed or have the ability to link with Plaid? Yes, that can happen. Is there a resolve for it on our end? No, there is not. You'd have to pick a different source.
To be clear, salary and business income can now be considered.
Yeah, this is another great question. So, and you guys keep me honest here, but you might all know currently that if you had a borrower that goes in and links to their personal bank statements and it says they make 50,000, but you're also using spousal income and it said they make 100,000 total. Well, the spouse wasn't able to connect their bank accounts. And so what would they do? They would upload their pay stub. In that normal traditional world, even right now today, we don't stack multiple sources of income to come up with a total. We don't say, here's your income from your bank statement. Here's the income from a pay stub. Let's add them to now you make 100,000. However, in the business bank statement, always have them start by linking their personal, if they have them. If not, they can go straight to the business route, but have them linked to their personal. And in Alex's example, you might remember, and I'll just use a round number. It said, we verified 20,000, but would you like to link your business accounts? And that's what drives the borrower to that. Now their business accounts verify 150,000. Guess what? We are going to stack that. That is now going to be 170,000 in income. Okay. So source to source, we're good at the stacking, but let's say they link their business bank account and they made 50,000, but then the spouse has a pay stub with another 100,000. We are not going to stack different sources to come up with a total. And I know that can be a little confusing. So I hope I was fairly clear on that. Reef, Alex, do okay there? You guys good?
No, you did fantastic. And that's the biggest thing to me is the fact that those methods don't stack, but we'll take the highest, right? I see a lot of LOs that are so cautious around income verification because they're worried about penalization. No, the methods that won't stack, but to Tim's point, right? It'll build on itself if it's the same type of method.
And by the way, to very clearly answer Romeo's question, if they link to their personal accounts and that pulls their salary, and then they also link to their business accounts and there's business income on top of that, you know, figuring in expense ratio numbers and whatnot, then yes, it would stack.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, great for people that have W-2, but also, you know, a side business, a side hustle.
Sure.
An anonymous attendee, where are the resource materials posted in the Figure system? That resource center.
Yep, right there on the left-hand side when you log into Lead Portal. And that page is static, meaning that left-hand menu stays there the whole time, I believe.
It does.
Mm-hmm. Correct.
Ryan's asking, do we service West Virginia? I believe we do.
Yes, we do.
It depends also what your partnership channel is as well, too.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Feel free to email us and we'll get that information for you.
Yeah, I remember that because about a month or so ago when we went live with that, I actually rewrote the lyrics to that song for West Virginia.
Well, mama.
Okay, stop.
Dave is asking, housing events. I have one that has a loan mod 26 months ago issue, question mark.
Kind of getting into the credit guides there. I'm not sure. I know.
Run an inquiry.
That's the Reef, you've nailed it. That's the answer. By the way, there's never any harm or foul in simply running an inquiry. Why? It'll take you less than 2 minutes. And whatever our system says is what we're going to go with.
Correct. Yep. So the system is king in terms of being able to see how that mod is being reported, if it's being reported at all, if Experian is showing it. Let the system answer that question for you. Can we send, or when can we send approvals for borrowers between the 600 to 630? It's actually going to be 600 to 639, but.
That's correct. And yeah, so Anna, the answer is one, reach out to us at the sales success team. It really depends on what partnership channel that you're currently working within. In the white label, private label, you know, space, that's going to be up to each of those partners to decide whether they want that on. Middle of this month, if it's in Figure Wholesale, it is on.
W-2 100% commission question mark. Not too sure on the question. I'm assuming if the question is if maybe they stack W-2 income as well as commission income.
Again, the path is always the path of least resistance is to always link the bank accounts. To be clear, we will not review W-2s. Just not even an option for us, nor do we need to. They can link to their personal bank accounts, and if they're W-2 and they're a wage earner and their income is being deposited into their personal bank account, that's what we're going to pick up.
Yeah. Easiest way. We don't review W-2s, 1099s, tax returns, things like that. So even brokerage account statements, I get that question quite often. We don't look at those. Romeo's asking, is that the reason sometimes applications won't show or offer a link to put business income after putting personal, or that's before today?
I don't think there was ever a link for putting in business income. There was a link for other income. There was a box, I should say, for other income, which is like investment properties, IRAs, 401ks, and that's an asset depletion type of screen. That's a whole different topic, but yes, that still remains.
Yeah. Nick's asking, or actually adding some context to the question prior. If we have a contractor that has a lead that needs 30K for a consumer that wants to use their HELOC for a roof, can the wholesale product be used instead of a HELOan link?
We have a
So-
contractor that has a lead that needs 30K for a consumer that wants to use their HELOC for a roof. Can the wholesale product be used instead of the home improvement loan link? The answer there is yes. I'm having trouble
the HELOC
deciphering
can
that
be-
question.
We'll utilize the AVM for that. So it's not like an appraiser's going out there noting a deficient roof and causing delays,
Yeah,
like
correct.
most HELOCs would happen. Yeah.
And this HELOC can be used for anything that money can be used for, right? This is a full draw close product. It gets deposited directly into the personal bank account of the primary applicant. You can use these funds in any way you so choose. But yes, if it's an AVM question, yeah, our AVM would not know that the roof needs, a repair or anything along those lines. So we're using an AVM, not a full appraisal.
Correct.
Anna's asking, after paying the HELOC that the borrower got from Figure, how many times can they access the same funds from their account with Figure?
There is no limit on as many subsequent draws as long as it's within the redraw period. To give you an example, the 30-year redraw period is 5 years, 20 and 15 are 4, and 10 is 3. And we don't have the 5 any longer. 5-year fixed.
Correct. Mark, will rental income deposits be recognized on the bank statements if they come from a person, Zelle, or a third party such as a housing authority?
Okay, such a great question, Mark. There's a couple answers here, and I love the fact that you spelled out the from an in-person or from Zelle. Likely, most likely, if that deposit is coming from a person, like in the form of a check sent to the landlord and deposited, and or a Zelle or Venmo or PayPal, whatever the case is, most likely linking that account to Plaid will not pick that up. If, however, it was a third party, such as a housing authority or rental agreement, and the deposit was the same, and think cadence and source and consistency of said deposit. So if every month on the 2nd, the housing authority or a property management company is making that deposit every month, then yes, the system should pick it up. How's that, Reef? Would you agree with that statement?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. It's the easiest way to think about it. Essentially, we have two paths. The bank accounts you can link, right? And now that we're allowing business accounts, maybe that could be helpful, right? That could be an option, or taxes. Those are going to be the only ways you're going to be able to catch rental income.
And to be clear, it's tax transcripts.
Correct.
So, Reef, you had mentioned earlier, we don't review taxes. That's true in the sense that we don't review physical tax returns, but we absolutely will allow for linked tax transcripts. By the way, there's some real power in that, in the sense that unlike traditional lending, we're only going to look at the most recent year. We don't ask questions, how long have you been self-employed and so on and so forth. It's literally just linked to last year's tax transcript, most recent required tax year's transcripts.
Yeah, and also, going off of that for verbiage, we throw around the word bank statement often, and that kind of misleads some loan originators sometimes because we actually don't review bank statements for income. We look at bank accounts, right? So it's a slight difference there, but it does make a big difference when you can start thinking about how to actually structure and think about this. Because there's not anybody here that's going to look at, a 15-page bank account statement. So, but the bank accounts can be linked electronically, which is great. Zelle income from a person to business bank. Does it need 12 months income in business account?
I actually don't know the answer to that question because we're literally just launching out the business bank account. So if that's the case, I don't know what the differentiation is going to be on source of deposits into the business account. Romeo, I like where your head's at because you're trying to get creative. You're like, how can I make this work? So I get where your head's at. I'm not confident on the answer to say set in stone. Yes. I think you just have to try it.
Agreed. That is all the questions that we have.
Yeah, a lot of things we talked about today from a pretty high level. There are again some great opportunities out there. So be sure. I just want to encourage you all. Be sure you're taking advantage of them, and also please, 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 always take advantage of that newly enhanced resource center right within the lead portal. One, it'll prevent you from potentially needing to make a phone call and scramble around going, well, I don't know if I can do this. You'll be able to quickly get an answer. And Reef reminded me, and it's so, so true. If in question, if something can be done, what do we do, Reef?
Use that inquiry tool, please.
Use
please.
the inquiry tool. Run the inquiry.
Now, let me add something real quick to that since we have a few minutes. There have been loan officers, loan originators, even leadership that have pushed back on the inquiry, especially the retail correspondent folks that have the direct link because they're just like, why spend 30 seconds when I could spend 1 second, right? Those folks, once they realize the power of the inquiry tool, they will not do the direct link for anybody that they know or have a conversation with. They never ever go back to the direct link outside of obtaining new customers or clientele. They use the inquiry tool exclusively. So be one of the folks that doesn't push back and then come around later. Save yourself some time and effort and headaches and start using the inquiry tool today. You'll love it, I promise you. It changes everything.
By the way, that could be a public announcement right there. A public service announcement by Reef Wilson. Use the inquiry tool, but it really is true. And by the way, Reef, you touched on it briefly, and I just want to add to it. The truth of the matter is in our white label space and our retail partners, unlike Figure wholesale partners, they actually do have a direct link that can be used. And that's really cool. And there's some great use cases for it. But here's the line we're starting to draw. And that is, if you're looking for a good use case for that link, think of it as a way to attract brand new clients into your database. Some might call it their sphere of influence. If you're working with a past client, absolutely, I want to encourage you to use the inquiry tool. This is someone you have a relationship with, and you want to be the one at point of contact doing that initial drive forward. If you're looking to attract brand new clients, use your referral link. If you're looking to work with past clients, always start with that lead portal. And I just believe that to my core.
Yeah, and you save money too, right? Like a lot of folks spend a lot of time doing due diligence, and that's kind of what mortgage has taught you, right? You pull people's credit, you start looking at their income, you start asking a lot of questions, you go down this route to see if they're eligible or not. We tell you, don't do that. You don't actually even need to know your borrower's FICO score to run an inquiry, right? Because the system will tell you. If you have the few pieces of information that you can have, let the system dictate that. And then you can pivot, right? Maybe their FICO comes back at 500 and there's no offers. That's okay. Now you know, right? You have a soft FICO, you have an AVM that gives you an idea of value. You also have a monthly revolving debt value from experience, so you can do DTI calculations yourself now, and then you can pivot accordingly. Maybe then you need to pull their credit, maybe come up with a credit plan to get them, in the right path or whatever the case is. But the inquiry tool is foundational, whether you're, wholesale or retail. It really is.
Yeah, for sure. And it's interesting, a lot of our retail partners, because they onboarded at a time when we didn't even have an inquiry tool, so many of them don't even realize they have it. And to Reef's point, once they realize and see how easy it is, they're usually like, wait, what the heck? Like, so yeah, definitely engage with that and engage with us. Engage with us for some help. We want to make sure we brought Scott on the call. I was hoping our newest addition, Mike Orlando, would be able to join, but I don't think, do you see him on there at all, Alex? Is he
I invited him as a panelist and then he declined. So I think he just doesn't like me is what it is.
Well, that could be. I somehow doubt it, but
Actually, I do see Mike on here, so let me see if I can get him up to a panelist so he can at least say hi. See if he'll let's see if he'll accept it. Maybe he doesn't like me either. You never know. You never know. Oh
no, he's coming. He's coming.
Okay.
There he is.
There we go.
And you're muted. And you're muted, Mike. So you got to undo your microphone.
Yeah, no, I was just hanging out as an attendee today. So
I thought maybe you got stuck in HR land. That happens,
I got out surprisingly quick. So
that's awesome. Well, listen, everybody. This is Mr. Mike Orlando, and Mike just literally started with us yesterday. I actually called him at the end of the day just to make sure he was okay, because he's drinking out of a fire hose right now. Mike is working closely with all of us right now, really just to get his legs underneath him. But The good news is Mike actually also comes to our team with a mortgage background, and that's significant. So just give a high-level overview a little bit, Mike, about what you've been doing the last several years.
Sure. Yeah. So I've been part of marketing teams with a couple of different mortgage companies, some big, some small, helping loan officers, run their campaigns, and also, helping them learn how to elevate their own marketing themselves. Really training on different technologies, different tech stacks, that type of thing. Making sure that they're able to get their message out to their partners and their borrowers.
Yeah, I love it. And by the way, Mike and I come from very similar backgrounds in this regard, because prior to my role here at Figure, I was doing a similar role trying to get our branches, if you will, where I was, to engage in the tech stack that we offered. And this is a big topic for everybody on this call, right? It's things like BombBomb or your CRM or Mortgage Coach or whatever the case might be, right? And so for Mike now, he only has one tech stack to promote and help engage with. So maybe that is going to make it easier for you, Mike.
Hope so. Yeah, no, maybe. No, I mean, this is great. I've been following Figure for quite a while now. So I'm really excited to be part of the team and really get started.
Yeah, no, it's going to be awesome. And by the way, it's a little side note, and I just have to give him a bad time about it. You might have missed it, Mike. I got my football helmet right here somewhere, right here. And I am ready to go for football season. And we have to open up tomorrow with the Eagles, which is Mike's team. I know this for a fact, that he is a Go Birds guy. And I can't pull for Dallas, so I'm hoping the Birds just smack them.
Yeah, we at least have that going for us, right? So yeah, I mean, I'm from the area. I grew up about 15 minutes from the stadiums and stuff like that. So Go Birds.
Yeah, Go Birds. And this is the last time I'm going to allow you to say that, just to be clear. And Scott, I think he's a Saints guy, which we don't even know what's up with that anymore. But anyway, tons of good things happening this week, folks. Remember, log into the lead portal, use the inquiry tool, use the resources. Can I say it again? Use the resources inside the lead portal prior to making a phone call or shooting an email. However, if you need us, you know where to find us. This is a big week for Figure, and it's a big week because football season kicks off, everybody. So let's go. Let's rock.
More important thing.
Right. Well, I don't know if it's more important, but maybe it is to me. I don't know. Anyway.
All right. All right. Thank you, everyone. I will be sending out an email. I'll be sending out links, information. You can find this recording on our YouTube channel later today once I get it all processed. And with that, feel free to always reach out to us, and you have a fantastic week. We will see you in 2 more weeks.
Have a great week, everybody.
All right,
Thank you.